Hey everyone! If you're passionate about uncovering the truth behind the world's most pivotal events and figures, you're in the right place. Today, we begin a deep dive into one of the most controversial and impactful figures of the 21st century, Osama bin Laden. From his early life in Saudi Arabia, to the rise of Al-Qaeda, to the events that forever changed the world on September 11th and his dramatic end in 2011, we'll explore the man, the myth, and the legacy he left behind. This isn't just about dates and headlines. We'll go behind the curtain, examine global politics, intelligence failures, and the ripple effects that shaped our modern world. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join us as we peel back the layers of history, one story at a time. Well, let's get started. So, this is probably going to be one of the weirder stories you'll read today. Maybe even this month. But I need to get this off my chest, because it's been eating away at me for years. I don't even know where to start. So much of what I thought was real turned out to be complete BS, and the person I trusted most turned out to be, well, let's just say she deserves her own Netflix documentary. Anyway, for context, I, 44M, have been with my wife, Amal, 35F, for a long time. Way too long in hindsight. We met back when I was still considered kind of a big deal, before the beard got gray, before the whole world's most wanted man thing really blew up, pun unintended. Back then, she seemed smart, loyal, even kind of mysterious. I liked that. Thought it meant she'd keep me grounded. Turns out, she was just really good at hiding stuff. At first, it was small things. She'd say she went out to get groceries, but she'd come back 3 hours later with nothing but stale pita and a dented can of lentils. Said the line was long, or the checkpoint was backed up. Weird excuses, but okay, living off the grid makes errands a nightmare, so I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Repeatedly. But then she started talking about the neighbors. Mind you, we weren't exactly in a bustling suburb. We were in this compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. I'm talking walls taller than egos in the Pentagon, no phone, no internet, no windows facing the street, basically every introvert's dream and extrovert's prison. And yet Amal kept bringing up the neighbors. Like, constantly. Oh, the neighbors asked if we could keep the kids quieter at night. Oh, the neighbor's daughter waved at me. Oh, the neighbor's goat got loose again. It was chaos. I was like, what neighbors? No one's supposed to be within 100 yards of this place. That's literally the whole point of the safe house. So I started getting suspicious. And not just the normal kind of, suspicious. This was more like, do I need to burn everything and relocate to a cave again? Kind of suspicious. I didn't act on it right away, though. I wanted to believe her. After all, she was my wife. The woman who'd stuck with me through fatwas, fasting, and firefights. I thought, if I can't trust her, who the hell can I trust? But trust isn't a blanket you can just keep throwing over red flags to stay warm. And let me tell you, what I eventually found out made me question everything, my marriage, my mission, even my place in the world. So like I said in part 1, things weren't adding up. I started keeping mental notes. Not full-on journaling, because, paper trails are frowned upon in my line of work. But I started noticing patterns. Every time Amal left the house, she'd come back acting all flustered. Like she'd just been in an argument, or had to think on her feet. She'd brush past me, mutter something about nosy neighbors, or the water pressure being out again, and then disappear into the back room with her phone. Hold up. Phone? Yeah, that's when I realized something else. I didn't give her a phone. We had one emergency sat phone locked in a box under the floorboards. Password protected, triple-layered security, only supposed to be used if we were, like, seconds away from being drone food. I hadn't touched it in months. But apparently she had. So one day, while she was out feeding the chickens, we didn't have chickens, I went into the back room. Searched around. Nothing. But I noticed this old woven basket had a false bottom. I pulled it out and found a burner phone wrapped in cloth. It was still warm. Recently used. Battery at 62%. I didn't open the messages. I know, call me stupid. But in that moment, I was more heartbroken than angry. This woman was supposed to be my partner. We were living in complete isolation from the world. She had one job, don't bring heat. And here she was texting who knows what to who knows who? I sat on the edge of our cot and stared at the wall for like an hour. My mind was racing. What if she was being blackmailed? What if she was scared? Or worse, what if she was working with them? Them. I won't say their name here, but let's just say the 3 letters rhyme with BIA. I put the phone back exactly where I found it. Didn't say anything. Just waited. That night, Amal came back inside, humming like nothing was wrong. She made flatbread, kissed me on the cheek, asked me if I wanted to play cards. Cards. While she was texting someone and probably selling me out. I wanted to confront her right then, but something in me said, wait, gather evidence, be smart, don't let emotion get ahead of strategy. But it got so much worse. Because a few days later, someone new showed up in the neighborhood, and I recognized his face. Not from real life, but from a wanted poster. So, a few days after the burner phone discovery, I'm doing my usual perimeter check, walking the edge of the compound like I always do when my nerves are twitching. It's dusk, that weird quiet hour where everything feels like it's holding its breath. And that's when I see him. A guy in a blue cap standing way too close to the outer wall. Not doing anything, just kind of pacing, like he's pretending to be on a walk. But he looks up at the compound every few seconds. Doesn't glance. Looks. Directly. Like he's measuring something. Now, if you've ever lived in a high-stakes hideout, you'll know that this kind of thing does not happen. Locals avoid us. Always have. We were that weird house with no visitors and a tarp over the vegetable garden. No one looked at us. Until now. And here's the thing, I recognized him. Not because I knew him personally, but because I study people for a living. And this guy? He was on a wanted poster years ago. One of those former analyst turned contractor turned ghost types. He vanished off the grid. Rumors said he was freelancing now. Some said he got burned by his agency and started working freelance hits. Whatever the truth, one thing was clear. He wasn't here for the damn goats. I watched from the shadows. He made no move toward the compound. Just stood, scanned, and eventually wandered back toward the market. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I waited until Amal went to hang laundry and I searched the burner phone again. This time, I opened it. There were only a few messages still on it. She was deleting as she went. But one thread stood out. It was under the name Uncle Kareem. You ever read something so bad your stomach drops before your brain catches up? Confirm layout. South window is sealed. He doesn't suspect anything. I'll make sure the kids are out. That last one broke me. I'll make sure the kids are out. What the actual hell, Amal? So I did something stupid. I called the number. And guess who picked up? Yep, blue cap guy. And all he said was, "You're early." Then he hung up. My hands were shaking. I sat in that back room, staring at the phone, feeling like the air had been sucked out of the building. Everything hit me at once. The lies, the sneaking, the looks, the goats that didn't exist, the damn neighbors. She was planning something, and I think she was trying to save the kids. But not me. So after that phone call, the one where Mr. Blue Cap says, "You're early," I just sat there. For hours. Phone still in my hand. My chest tight. Palms sweaty. Not even from fear, just rage. And heartbreak. The kind that doesn't scream. The kind that simmers so hot it goes cold. That night Amal comes in with a plate of rice like it's a regular Thursday. "Here, eat something," she says. I'm staring at her. She's calm. She's humming under her breath again. Some lullaby she sings to the kids when they're scared. And I'm thinking, you're trying to lull me too, huh? I ask her, real casual, "You hear from your Uncle Kareem lately?" She freezes. Just for a second. But I see it. The tiny flinch in her cheek. The pause in her breathing. Then she laughs, actually laughs, and says, "What are you talking about? I don't even have an uncle named Kareem." Lying. To my face. Like I'm stupid. So I try something else. Someone was near the compound today. Blue cap. Looked lost. She shrugs. Probably a delivery guy. Maybe he's looking for the goat family next door. Goats again. The damn ghost goats. So I lean in and ask, "You've been messaging someone?" Don't lie. I saw the phone. Now her eyes go dark. Like really dark. Not scared, calculating. She tilts her head like I just accused her of forgetting to water the plants, not selling me out to a foreign agency. "I was checking on my sister," she says slowly, "because you don't let me see her. I was trying to be a mother. Something you've apparently forgotten how to be a father to." Low blow. See, that's her move. Amal doesn't scream. She doesn't cry. She weaponizes guilt like a pro. She knew I loved the kids. Knew I was already feeling conflicted about raising them in isolation. And she used that. Turned it around on me in seconds. Now I'm doubting myself. Was I too paranoid? Was it just her sister? But then she said something that made my skin crawl. "You're the one with secrets. Maybe you're just afraid I have some of my own." Boom. She knew. She knew that I was hiding more than just where we lived. She knew who I was, what I'd done, and now she was using it like leverage. I didn't sleep that night either. Every creak in the house felt like a footstep. Every breeze felt like a whisper through a scope. My safe house didn't feel safe anymore. And my wife? She felt like a stranger wearing Amal's face. But I wasn't going to run. Not yet. If she was going to betray me, I was going to find out how far it went. And who else was in on it. So at this point, I'm not sleeping, not eating much, and I've basically turned into a ghost in my own damn house. Amal's doing her routine like nothing's wrong, making food, tending the garden, fussing at the kids like the world isn't quietly crumbling beneath our feet. But then, she slipped up. It was something small. They always are, right? We were sitting at the table. Kids were outside. She was chopping vegetables, and I asked her, again, totally casually, "So when's your sister's birthday?" She didn't even look up. "July 14th, she said. That's when I knew. Her real sister's birthday was April 2nd. She told me that herself 3 years ago when we first got here. She even made a cake out of flour paste and dates to celebrate, and we sat on the roof eating it like it was a goddamn holiday. But she said July 14th and said it without hesitation. It wasn't a guess. It was the wrong answer with full confidence. That's the difference between a lie and a mistake. And I knew in my gut, the sister on the other end of that phone wasn't her sister. It was someone else. Someone she was protecting. Someone she was coordinating with. Now I'm in a sick place. I'm lying to the kids, smiling while tucking them into bed. But inside I'm building mental maps, routes out of the compound, stashing supplies like I'm prepping for a siege. Because that's what it felt like now, a siege from inside. And then another strange thing happened. The electricity flickered. We hadn't had power in 6 weeks. The whole compound ran off a busted generator I barely managed to keep alive using parts from radios and a broken washing machine. But suddenly, a flicker. Just for a second. Then gone. That meant someone was testing the line. I go outside, around the back, and what do I find? Fresh footprints near the fuse box. Boot prints. Not sandals. Not barefoot. Boots. Heavy tread. American style. No one wore boots in this neighborhood. No one except them. I went back inside and stared at Amal. She's sitting there, pretending to read a book, not even looking up. She knew I saw the prints. I knew she knew. And she knew I knew she knew. But we just sat there, silent, like we were both waiting for a bomb to go off. Thing is, it already had. And it was her. And then the electricity flickered. We hadn't had power problems in months. Our generator was old, sure, but I maintained it religiously. The flicker wasn't normal. It wasn't the kind of sputter you get from a fuel hiccup. It was deliberate. Too brief. Too precise. Like someone testing the waters. Seeing if they could get in without being noticed. I waited. 10 seconds. 20. Then I went down to the basement. Our so-called utility room, where we kept backup supplies, the generator switch, and the emergency sat phone. Everything seemed normal until I noticed the panel on the generator had been opened. Just a little. Like it had been checked or tampered with. Amal never touched the generator. Never even looked at it. That night, I didn't even pretend to sleep. I stayed in the kitchen, watching the hallway, knife in my hand like a lunatic, trying to decide if I was still being paranoid or if I was finally just catching up to reality. Because the next morning, before anyone else was awake, I found a footprint in the dust outside the eastern wall. A boot print. Heavy. Male. And not mine. We didn't use that side of the compound. It was overgrown, thorny, blocked off with cinder blocks and rusted chicken wire. Even the kids knew to avoid it. But someone had gone there. Recently, I followed the prints. Just a few paces. And then I found it. A plastic water bottle, buried under a loose rock, and tucked inside the bottle was a folded slip of paper. Coordinates. Times. A date circled in red. May 1st. It was April 27th. For days. For days until, what? Extraction? A hit? A raid? Whatever it was, I wasn't on the guest list. That night, I confronted Amal again. Only this time, I didn't ask. I told her. I know about May 1st. She didn't flinch. She just set down the dish she was washing and said, "Then you should probably say goodbye to the kids while you still can." Boom. There it was. The admission. The confirmation. The death sentence. She was done pretending. I was trying to protect them, she added, voice shaking now, not with fear, but maybe remorse? From me. I asked. And all she said was, from everything. We stood there in silence, the hum of the generator in the background, The distant barking of stray dogs outside. Two people who'd once promised forever, now trapped in a silent countdown to destruction. She went to bed. I didn't. I spent the rest of the night writing letters. One for each kid. One to my brother. One to the world, in case someone ever found this place and wanted to know what really happened. And then I packed. Because whatever was coming on May 1. I wasn't going to be here for it. Not if I could help it. We hadn't had that happen in months. We were running off solar with a backup generator I inspected weekly. The system was stable. Isolated. No outside feed. So when the lights dimmed and surged, just once, barely noticeable unless you were on edge like I was, it set off every alarm bell in my body. Amal didn't react. She just kept chopping onions, wiping her eyes like the sting was from the vegetables and not the lies. I played dumb. Power's acting up. She nodded without looking at me. Maybe dust on the panels. You should clean them. There it was again. Calm. Directive. Subtle manipulation. Like she was still in control. Like I was the one slipping. But no. Not this time. I waited until after dark. After the kids were down. After Amal slipped into bed with that same soft hum in her throat. I made sure she was asleep, deep asleep, before slipping out barefoot into the cold night air. I went straight to the generator shack behind the vegetable tarp. The wires had been tampered with. Subtle, but I know my own systems. A junction that should have been sealed was clipped open. A new wire, not mine, was tucked beneath one of the conduits, leading down into the ground. Someone had piggybacked a signal. Or a tracker. Or worse. I followed the new wire. Dug into the soil with my hands, trying not to breathe too loudly. About 2 feet down, I found it. A sleek, sealed plastic casing about the size of a deck of cards. I didn't touch it. Not at first. Just stared at it, chest rising and falling like I'd just run 10 miles. They were tracking us. Someone had compromised the power system. And Amal either helped or knew and did nothing. I covered it back up, retraced my steps, and returned to bed. I didn't sleep. That was the 3rd night in a row. The next morning, Amal acted like nothing had changed. She made tea, asked if I wanted to go over lesson plans for the kids. She kissed me lightly on the cheek, her breath warm, sweet. I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab her and shake the truth out of her. But instead, I said, let's take the kids to the market today. She blinked. That caught her off guard. You hate going to the market. I know, I said. But they deserve a treat. She hesitated. And in that hesitation, I knew she was recalculating, reevaluating her timelines, her variables. But she agreed. We packed light. I dressed the kids in their most nondescript clothes. Packed a small bag with snacks and supplies. Amal didn't notice me adding fake passports, old currency, a compact emergency radio. The walk to the market was calm, uneventful. Amal even seemed happy. But her eyes kept flicking to the alleys, the rooftops, the horizon. Like she wasn't shopping. Like she was waiting. And then I saw him again. Blue cap guy. He wasn't in a cap this time. He wore sunglasses, and a local tunic, and a faint smile. But it was him. A little leaner, maybe, but the same eyes. Same energy. He didn't look at me. He looked at Amal. And she gave the slightest nod. That's when I knew the timeline had changed. I had hours. Maybe less. We walked back in tense silence. I held one of the kids in my arms just a little tighter. My son kept asking when we could go back and buy more candy. Amal gave him this overly bright smile. Said we'd come again next week. There wasn't going to be a next week. That night, while she bathed the kids, I made my move. I pulled the burner phone. I wiped it. Reset it. Then I took the emergency sat phone and placed a call. Not to the people I usually feared, but to someone they feared more. A man I once ran with. A man who vanished even before I did. I used the old code phrase, the roots are exposed. There was silence on the line. Then a voice I hadn't heard in a decade. Clock's ticking, brother. You want extraction? Yes, I said. But not for me. Just the kids. Another pause. Then, understood. Be ready by dawn. I stayed up all night packing. The kids thought we were going on a fun trip. Amal asked me twice why I was up so late. I told her I was writing a story for them. She smiled like she believed me. Or like she didn't care. I didn't sleep. Again. By dawn, we were ready. I gave the kids hugs, whispered to them to listen to the man who came for them. That I'd find them again soon. That everything would be okay. I kissed their hair. I held my daughter's tiny hand in mine a second longer than I should have. Then the knock came. Amal went to the door. Before she could open it, I stopped her. Let me. She raised an eyebrow. Since when do you answer doors? I looked her in the eyes. Since I stopped trusting you. That got her. A flicker of hurt. Or maybe guilt. I opened the door. A man in desert gear stood there. No badge, no gun showing, no smile. Just authority. He nodded once at me, then looked past me to the kids. Time. No. I said. You were setting me up. You were going to sell me out. You think I didn't see the messages? The man at the market? The wire in the dirt? Her face crumpled for the first time. She wasn't used to being confronted. I was trying to protect them, she shouted. They were going to raid the house, kill everyone. You think they care about your family? You think they'd spare me? Spare the kids. I stepped closer. Then why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you trust me? Her voice broke. Because you would have run again. Like always. We stood there. Two people who used to love each other. Now just strangers holding jagged pieces of a broken plan. I wasn't going to let them take you, she whispered. I didn't believe her. But I wanted to. She's still here. Somewhere in the house. I keep to the opposite side now. We don't speak. We pass like ghosts. The kids made it. I got a signal 2 weeks ago. An encrypted ping from the man who helped extract them. They're safe. Enrolled in school under new names. Happy. As for me, I'm a relic. A shadow. No one's hunting me anymore because everyone thinks I'm already dead. Maybe I am in a way, but I'm not sorry for what I did. I'm sorry I waited too long to see the truth. If you're reading this, and you're with someone who's slowly turning your world sideways, pay attention. Not every betrayal comes with sirens and screaming. Some come with lullabies. Some come with pita bread and silence. And sometimes, the greatest danger isn't outside the walls. It's sleeping next to you. End.